comfortable is a bad place to be because you can't grow. Like there's another version of you that needs to get unlocked. And if you're comfortable and you stay there, like nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
You know, and comfort, they say that comfort, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you. Meaning you're never going to reach that potential if you don't get uncomfortable and break through that and continue to grow.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jan Simon, and this season we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it. All right, CEO and co-founder of Red Crane Digital, a Phoenix-based video agency helping businesses bring their story to life through cinematic content that drives real results. After serving 8 years in the United States Navy and building a successful corporate career, Elisha stepped into entrepreneurship with faith, grit, and a vision to legacy. He's a husband, father, fierce competitor, and a man on a mission to change his family tree. Welcome, Elisha.
Thank you.
So let me start off by saying, Elisha, your Elisha spelt is different than I've ever seen it.
Yeah, so it's spelled Elisha.
Okay.
S-H-A, not the J-A-H.
Yeah.
So it's out of the Bible. My parents named me it out of the Bible.
Okay.
And Elijah and Elisha were both prophets.
Gotcha.
Elijah was kind of the first prophet, and then Elisha superseded him, got the double anointing of Elijah.
Wow.
Yeah, and did, crazy stuff.
Nice.
So,
and you're walking in that path.
correct.
Trying,
Yeah.
right?
I heard it my whole life.
That's awesome.
From my mom, Elisha. And when people don't say it right, she corrects them.
She corrects them?
Yeah.
That's funny. I've got somebody in my family, and I will not disclose who that is, somebody in my family who is very particular in the way that their name is said as well. So Elisha, let's talk. We kind of start everybody off by talking about, where you grew up. What does that look like for you? What was growing up? Where was it? Let's walk through that.
Cool. Yeah. So I was born in Fountain Valley, California.
Okay.
Anaheim.
Okay.
Lived there till I was about 9. So grew up in the Anaheim, Orange, Yorba Linda area. Grew up going to Angels baseball games and motocross and things like that. I remember we lived really close to the Angel Stadium.
Okay.
And we'd walk to games sometimes.
Really? So when the Ducks were expansion, did you ever go to the Anaheim?
No, I've never been to an NHL hockey game.
No kidding.
Never.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. I remember, I'll get into it, but we lived in Colorado at one point.
Okay.
And that was when the Avalanche were doing really good. And me and my dad would always try to go, and we could never get tickets because they were just so hard to get and too expensive. So, the Ducks didn't come around till later on.
Okay.
But we left California when I was 9 and moved to Colorado.
Okay.
And my dad took on a pastoral position at a church. That's what moved us out there. So that's kind of where I grew up as far as my teenage years and high school and all that good stuff.
So you were a pastor's kid.
I was a PK.
What denomination? Do you mind sharing?
Just Christian, non-denomination.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you the typical pastor's kid where you got in trouble all the time, but everybody thought you were perfect?
I don't think anyone thought I was perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I made that pretty obvious.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I was definitely a troublemaker.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it was fun though.
Yeah.
Being a pastor kid was fun.
So 9 years old in California, uprooted to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
You spend the rest of your formative years. Do they call it formative years? Your adolescent years in Colorado?
So as soon as I graduated high school, 2 weeks later, that's when I went and joined the Navy. Yeah, so I joined the Navy technically before I graduated, but my ship out date was 2 weeks after graduation.
Okay.
So I didn't really spend, any adult life in Colorado. I left, and it was really good. Good timing.
What did high school look like? Were you athlete, play ball, play the piccolo, march in the band?
Definitely not athlete. So I played a little, little league baseball growing up until, 11 maybe, to where it kind of got hard.
Yeah.
And I just I wasn't very good.
You weren't about that.
No. So I kind of lost.
You have the stature of a wrestler. I mean, you look to me like you should have been like a 101-pound state champion or something.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot
look
of
like it.
most people assume that I wrestled, and when I tell them I didn't, they're surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't really play sports after, baseball when I was like 11.
Okay.
My parents actually divorced when I was 13.
Okay.
It was like maybe a couple weeks before 8th grade graduation, so right
That's
right
tough.
into high school.
Yeah.
Divorced family. It was very tough.
That's rough.
So I went through high school, grieving
Mm.
and just trying to figure out life as a young teenage boy
Yeah.
without really a father figure. I mean, my dad was in the picture, but I didn't live with him. I only saw him, every other week or something. And it was maybe just for a day. And we would go to the movies or go play miniature golf or stuff like that. So, I mean, even before the divorce, I was never really close with my dad.
Okay.
He was there, but he wasn't present.
Yep.
Very surface level.
Mm.
And we can get more into that too. But so high school for me was really, now that I look back, it was me like surviving
Mm.
and coping with.
Were you in a
the
chaotic
divorce.
state then? I mean, were you, let's see, did you deal with things like ADHD or things like that? Or was it just really more just an unstable family life at that point?
I think I definitely deal with ADHD. Never diagnosed.
Okay.
I think my mom refused to get me diagnosed.
Get a label on it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Tasmanian devil.
Yeah. And I would tell her too. I would say, Mom, I think I have that ADHD or ADD. Back then it was ADD, right?
Yeah.
She's like, no, you don't have that. No, stop saying that. Stop saying that. So but I think I definitely have it and still have it to this day. But I've learned how to use it, right? I think it's a superpower. I don't think it's anything bad at all as long as you acknowledge it and then you know how to kind of navigate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't really dealing with too much besides that. My mom worked like 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. I started working as soon as I was, like 14. I worked on a ranch, kind of like under the table doing stuff. And then as soon as I was legal age to work, I worked at a restaurant doing dishes. And then I worked at a Subway. So I've been working since day one.
Early on.
Never stopped working. So really, not too much like no major trauma or anything crazy like that. It was just trying to figure out, coping with that. And at the time I didn't know how. I had no one to talk to. So I just kind of bottled everything in and went about life. So high school for me was just kind of a party scene, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there anybody in that time? Because your dad we'll say he stepped away at 13, right? We'll just use that.
Sure.
So he kind of shifts out of the full-time picture. Was there anybody in that time frame that had either saw the path you were walking down and said, hey, you're going down the wrong path, you need to correct? Or were you really just shut off from everybody and kind of, because deciding to join the military, I mean, I feel like somebody had to have kind of gone, or was it, hey, a couple buddies drinking one night?
Believe it or not, it was really my decision to join the military. Yeah, because I didn't take school serious, so I didn't really get good grades. I passed my classes, most of them, and
D's get a degree is what they say.
Right. I didn't take the SATs or the CATs or apply for college or anything. So I just kind of figured, well, what am I even gonna do? And one of my really good friends, there was a recruiter at our school one day, and we were like, hey, let's go talk to him. So we went and talked to him. It was like during lunch break or something. We went and talked to him and looked at, his little photo album of him overseas and going to different countries and being around, airplanes and all this cool stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And they talk it up. They talk it up like it's amazing. You get to travel the world,
right?
Make money,
you get
do
paid
all this stuff.
to be travel.
Girls love you overseas and all this stuff. So we're like, dude, this might be actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then we asked him, like, can we join together? Is that like possible? And he's like, yeah, we have the buddy system you guys can do where you can join together. You'll go to boot camp together. You'll get stationed together. And then we're like, okay. So we started thinking about it. And then we're like, what else can we squeeze out of this guy, right? To make this a sweet deal. And we're like, what about San Diego? Like, can we guarantee San Diego and can we guarantee this buddy system where we're together? And he's like, done.
Okay.
So we just decided to do it. Yeah. I mean, at that age, I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. And I just kind of realized, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
And, that's what I did. And it was the best decision. Like, I don't regret it at all.
So you shipped off to the Navy 2 weeks after high school?
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks. Okay. So where'd you go to boot?
RTC Great Lakes.
Okay.
Yeah, Illinois. Yeah. And it was June
Okay, so it was summer.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's
hot and
it's either hot or freezing.
freezing. Exactly. Yeah,
got your
yeah. We got the hot version, the hot humid version.
Oh,
Yeah,
yuck.
yeah.
What was your MO? I mean, what would you do in the Navy after boot?
Yeah, so I went in as they call it undesignated. So you don't really have like a rate or an MOS.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of a couple different paths you can go when you do that. One is like they call it surface level, meaning you're kind of working for the ship. So you do a lot of the painting. You basically work with the bosun's mates who do a lot of the painting. They do a lot of the cleaning, navigation, stuff like that. And I was a part of the air side.
Okay.
Which is you're part of the air department. And in the air department, you basically, as an undesignated airman is what they call it, you get to work with aircraft. So you're either like in a hangar bay working or you're up on the flight deck working.
Okay.
And, of course, they sold us on what sounded completely different, but, we didn't know that we were going into this path, this experience. But yeah, so we both worked on the flight deck together. And, it was actually really cool because 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, but the last week of, it's called A school. So you go through, I don't know, 8 or 9 weeks, 10 weeks of basic training. And then you get shipped to your A school. And that's kind of where you learn your job, your rate, your MOS. And it was in Pensacola, Florida. And it was our last week, like down to our last couple of days. And we already had our plans to travel. We had our orders to what ship we were going to. And then we had travel plans to go back home to Colorado for 2 weeks together, me and my friend, and then meet the ship in the Persian Gulf where it was. But a couple days before we were gonna graduate and do that, 9/11 happened.
No.
Yes, 9/11 happened.
Shipped out right away.
We were actually got held down. We actually got locked down for almost a week. So like all our planes, tickets, all our travel got canceled, and we were locked down on base for almost a week.
Wow.
And then once they kind of started to lift it, they're like, okay, you guys can travel now, but you can't fly. You can't fly, and you can't take the bus, or you can't take the train. You have to take a bus.
Okay.
So we had to take a bus from Pensacola, Florida, all the way to Boulder, Colorado. And it took
like a week.
Yeah, it took it felt like a week.
A lot of
it
stops
probably was
along the way.
3 to 5 days or something, but it was horrible. It was packed. I remember at times we were sleeping on the floor. It was rough.
That's crazy.
So we extended our leave at home from 2 weeks to 3 weeks because now we knew where we were going and what we were going to do. So we were like, let's extend our leave one more week at home so we can, live it up before we go fight, and, but that's what we did. And it was a really crazy experience. So being on the flight deck during that time, we were in the North Arabian Sea. So all this Straits of Hormuz stuff that's going on. We traveled in order to get to the North Arabian Sea. You got to go through the Straits of Hormuz.
Okay.
So I'm very familiar of what that actually looks like. I've been through them many times. But we were in the North Arabian Sea, and we were providing support to Afghanistan and all that stuff with the Marines and everything. And it was really cool to be on the flight deck because we got to see a lot of the action. Marines getting shipped out, Force Recon, Navy SEALs, Harrier jets getting loaded up with bombs and coming back empty, and it was pretty crazy to see.
Yeah.
So
Did you ever think you wanted to go Navy SEALs at any point?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't have that desire?
No, not
That's
really.
interesting. It's so funny. So during the first Gulf War, I had a buddy, basically, and I don't know if this is true or if this is just my head thinking, someone along the way mentioned that them reinstituting the draft.
Okay.
When we were going to do the first Gulf War. Obviously, that was done and over in a day. But I wasn't in college. I went to school. I was taking time off of school. So I went and I wanted to go. I thought I'm going to go Navy because if I have to go someplace, I want a choice and I want to go Navy. Wanted to be a corpsman. I thought I wanted to try SEALs, that whole thing. Met with a recruiter. Yeah, no problem, blah, blah, blah. Went down to do the recruiting, the ASVAB and all that stuff is like a full day of just all of it.
Down to MEPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the recruiting officer at the station was like, so one of the questions was, have you ever tried drugs?
Mm.
And I said, well, I
Right.
did pot once in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's like, okay, you can't be a corpsman. And I'm like, well, why? He says, because you're going to be carrying morphine on the battlefield and you're more likely to use it. I'm like, I tried pot once. I mean, come on. And I was stupid enough to say it, you know? So we get in this kind of this heated little thing. And pretty soon he's like, well, you scored high enough on the exam. You could be a nuclear engineer. And I'm like, don't know what that is. Don't want to do it. You know, like not interested. So we're going down all these things and he's throwing these different jobs at me. And he goes, well, look, he says, obviously you're struggling to make a commitment. He says, how about we do a 2-year seaman apprenticeship program and you can go in and experience everything the Navy has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can re-up after 18 months. I'm like, well, but what's my job? He goes, well, you get to experience everything.
You get to do all the jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds like I'm going to be cleaning toilets. I don't.
Right.
Anyway, so that was, when you're talking about that, it's like, I feel like that was what they were trying to talk me into do.
That's exactly the same thing.
Is
so
it?
like
Okay.
I said the surface side and the air side.
Yeah.
So the surface side is the seaman apprenticeship program, and the
Okay.
air side is the airman apprenticeship program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can work as an aviation electrician.
Yeah,
You can work as a mechanic. You can do this.
Like, what's my school?
cool.
He goes, well,
Yeah.
you get training in everything. You get
Right.
to go experience. I just remember that, like,
Yep.
all the Navy has to offer. I'm like,
You get it all.
I just
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
I'm into
You can
that.
go work with the mechanics one day, and if you don't like it, you can go work with the ordnance guys.
Yeah.
And no, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Not at all. No,
That's
not at
funny.
all.
That's awesome. So 8 years.
Yeah.
And was that all pretty much spent in the Middle East with regards to deployments and stuff? Or how
So I
that
did.
work
I
out?
mean, including my first tour when I got shipped straight there. I did a second tour, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Free in Iraq, and then I did a South American tour, which was like a humanitarian tour.
Okay.
But yeah, I was in that airman apprenticeship program for probably about my first 3 years.
Okay.
And then what I did is I realized what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to become an aviation bosun's mate. I wanted to become a aviation structure mechanic.
Okay.
So to get out of that, you basically take a test. Every 6 months, you can take an advancement test for a specific rate, as long as you qualify for the ASVAB.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, whatever your score is, you got to make sure that you qualify for that job, and then you can take the test. So I took the aviation structure mechanic test, and I passed it. So now I got out of the air department, the airman apprenticeship stuff,
Yep.
and I worked down in a shop with the structure mechanics, actually working on aircraft parts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my rate after my first 3 years as an airman, an undesignated airman. Then I became an aviation structure mechanic and worked in a shop working with aircraft parts. And then I did two tours on the USS Peleliu, which is now, I'm pretty sure they sunk it. They decommed it, and I'm pretty sure they sunk it. I did 2 tours there. And then after about 4 years, I transferred to like a shore duty rotation.
Okay.
And I was in a UH-60 squadron, so helicopters, search and rescue helicopters.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to be there for 3 years, but then they changed the sea-shore rotation cycle for my rate. So it was 4 and 2 instead of 4 and 3. So when I thought I had a whole extra year, they were like, oh, you need to pick orders now.
Oh, wow.
You're leaving, to your next duty station. So I picked I wanted to stay in San Diego because I was married. I was married at the time. And well, I'm still married, but I had gotten married up until then. So
First wife.
Yeah. And so I wanted to stay in San Diego. So my only options were like, I think the USS Boxer was kind of my only option. So I chose that. So joined the USS Boxer, was on there for, I don't know, another 2 years or so. And that's when I got out. And we did one humanitarian cruise down to South America.
Okay.
Yeah. So like El Salvador, Peru, and Guatemala. We stopped at, just did humanitarian stuff. Fixed up orphanages, schools,
That's cool.
things like that. Yeah.
You did that with the Navy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
with
wow.
the Navy. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And that was short. That was maybe 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing that you experienced in the Navy?
Man, my favorite thing, like looking back. So there's probably my favorite thing when I was right? Like in the moment. And then now that I'm, in my 40s and I look back, it's like now it's changed, right?
Right.
So I think, when I was I think my favorite moments were, the ports. So the Liberty ports. So we got to go to like Hawaii, Australia, Singapore.
So you got to travel
Guam.
the world. He didn't lie to you.
Right, yeah. Didn't get to go to Japan or Thailand or any of those.
Yeah.
Probably a good thing that I didn't go to those, especially Thailand. But those were always the best parts while you're in, because for one, you're in the middle of the ocean for months and weeks at a time. So whenever you get those Liberty ports, it's like, finally we get to get off this boat.
Yeah.
And we get to go, party and drink, because that's what we
That's all you do.
Yeah.
What else is there to do when you're in the Navy?
Exactly. Yeah. So that was probably my favorite part about it, being in. And then now looking back, traveling those places is really cool. But the things that I kind of miss is just like being out there in the ocean and being a part of what was happening, being a part of the missions and all that stuff. That's kind of like, looking back, that's kind of my favorite part. That's kind of like what I'm proud of, is like, some people can go in and they literally don't do anything their whole time in. They just train and they don't go anywhere. They don't do anything. I think I was fortunate because I actually got to experience a lot of
experience everything the Navy
action.
had to offer.
Yeah, the action and real stuff, and got to see some really cool things, and didn't have to witness or experience any losing any buddies or anything like that. We were never attacked or nothing. So I
deal with the
very
grief aspect of things.
Right, very fortunate. So,
and why only 8 years? I mean, you got to that point.
That's a great question. Yeah,
I mean, and I've never been in, so I don't know, right? But I just think it seems like if you've gotten to the point of 8 years and you were enjoying it,
right?
Were you given the wife ultimatum? Okay,
no, kind of, but not really. No, not from her. No. Yeah. It's funny you asked that, because like while you're in, you change your mind every 2 weeks, right? You're like, I mean, unless you like really hate it,
it's kind of like having a shitty job.
Yeah, or you really love it, then you're like set, But like you'll have good experiences, bad, and you're like, the good experience is like, yeah, I can't wait to re-enlist. I'm gonna stay in. I'm gonna be a lifer. I'm gonna make this a career. And then you have a bad experience. You're like, dude, I can't wait to get the F out of here, man. Can I get out early? So it's honestly up and down. But right around my second term, that's kind of when I started to take it seriously, and got a bunch of qualifications, made the rank of E5. And once you make the rank of E5, that's kind of when you start to get some responsibility. And I was ready to stay in. Like, I was ready to make it a career. And at the time, so I got out in 2008. So this was probably 2006. I had been married for 5 years. We had a 2-year-old daughter, maybe 3, somewhere around there. And me and Jessica split. Yeah. So our marriage wasn't healthy. We weren't healthy. Weren't close to God. We were partying. I mean, we were a mess. We were not a healthy family. And she ended up wanting to separate and get a divorce. So we separated probably right around 2006 timeframe. So when I was on the Boxer, that's when all that happened. And that South America cruise, that had already happened. So it was, super emotional with everything going on. And what ended up happening was she never actually like filed for divorce or anything. We just stayed separated. We wrote out some contracts and got them notarized as far as, what we're going to do with our daughter as far as custody and things like that, and how I was going to continue to support her financially and things like that. And we ended up getting that all set before I went on that short cruise, and then went on the short cruise, came back, maybe like 10 months, a year had passed, and still no papers or nothing. And I was, once we got back from that, I had a really good friend on the boat, and he was a strong believer, strong in his faith. And I ended up going to church with him and got really involved with that church, got, super close to God, and really helped me through that hard time. I had been a Christian. I grew up in the church, right? So I've had that relationship with Christ my whole life, but, walked away at times, got close, walked away, got close. And, at that time leading up to that, I was not close. So that allowed me to really get closer to God again and allow him to work in my life. And I got to the point where I was ready to move on, and I just wanted closure, right? Because we were separated with nothing happening. I'm like, how long is this going to go on for? Like, at some point, something needs to happen. Either we draw the line and say, okay, let's finalize this, or we work on it and, save the marriage. So I was to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm over it. I just want this to end. I want closure. And one of my friends from the church, I was having a conversation with her after church one night, and she said, I was explaining that to her. She's like, no, you can't give up. I was like, what do you mean I can't give up? She's like, are you guys still married? I said, yeah. She's like, well, don't give up. Like, you guys are technically still married. She's like, just trust in God and he's going to work it out and all this stuff. And I'm like, I've been waiting this whole time. Like, nothing's changing. Mm-hmm. Really had no hope that things were going to work out. And I don't know if you've seen the movie Fireproof.
Yeah.
You've seen that movie, right? Yeah. So it was right when that movie came out. That movie was in the theaters. And she said, hey, you need to go see this movie, Fireproof. I'm like, what is it? She's like, it's a movie. It's about, I don't remember what she said. She's like, just go see it. Right. So I was like, okay. And I don't know if I went and saw it that night or if I saw it the next night, but I went and saw it. I was like, okay, I'll listen to you. I'll go watch the movie. And I remember I sat that was the first time I've ever gone and watched a movie by myself. By yourself. Right. So it was weird. I felt like a loser.
You get your back against the wall.
Yeah. So I was like all the way at the top, corner, corner seat. Cause I'm like, this is embarrassing. This is humiliating. Who goes to the movies by themselves? So I did. And I watched the movie and how the story goes, right? It was like, that was my story, with them fighting and him, looking at, pornography and like the hurt and everything. And then they separated and then she found a dude and all of it was like, that's my story. And then you see how God gets involved, right? The faith aspect. And then the hearts begin to change and the Holy Spirit begins to work. And then the marriage gets saved. And man, I left that theater just wet, sobbing, right, from my tears. And I was like, wow, that was incredible. There actually is hope. And, literally from that moment on, I was like, it's not over. It's like, my friend was right. It's not over. And I decided to surrender it to God and to fight for my marriage. And that's what I did. And I'm like, okay, how do I even do this? So I just began to, pray about it heavily, and just every day surrender it to God and trust in him that it's going to work out. And don't know how long it's going to take, but I have faith that it will. And I just began to just love her from a distance. So instead of, when we would exchange with our daughter and stuff, instead of it being super short and maybe, some sassy comments or, attitude or whatever that was going on because of the hurt and the resentment and the pain that was all there, I started to just be like, God, how do I love her? How do I respect her? How do I be kind to her? So I just started to do that. And then started to reach out to her and ask her like, hey, I'm not asking for us to get back together or anything, but can we at least have lunch as friends? Or can we take Michaela, our daughter, to the zoo or to the museum or little things like that, right? So nothing at night, nothing date, things like that. It was all during the day, kind of friendship stuff. And a lot of it was evolved around our daughter. So it was like doing stuff together as, a family, even though we weren't a family. And this went on for probably 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was almost, it was 18 months to almost 2 years of us being separated. And what had happened is I actually had to court my wife for, 8 to 10 months before we finally got back together and became, a family again and decided, okay, we're going to give this a second try. So it was a long time. It was a long time waiting and we weren't sleeping together. We weren't doing anything physically, nothing. I'm like, and that was hard, right? Because that's my wife still, So it's like, man, I can't even, kiss my wife or, hold her hand or do these things. I was courting her. It was courtship at its finest. And eventually after about, 10 months or so, I don't even know what the conversation went like, but we basically decided hey, let's you've changed, I've changed, we've changed. And we both realized that the grass isn't greener on the other side. We're dragging our daughter through this. Our daughter wants us to be together. She's happiest when we're together. So we just decided, okay, well, let's make this work. Yeah. And we did. And here we are.
Was that after you were out of the military?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, back to like how this conversation started.
Yeah.
Still in the military.
Okay.
And that was when I decided. So up until that time, I was like, I'm staying in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to stay in. Two things changed that. One was the command that I was at was very bad. The chain of command, the leadership was just awful. Like it was not a good time, not a good experience. So it made me not want to stay in the Navy any longer, even though I was going to, because you're not in a command forever. You're there for a short amount of time and then you get ordered somewhere else, right?
Okay.
So that changed. And then I realized, well, if I want my marriage to work, I have to get out of the military.
Gotcha.
I can't stay in. I can't continue to be in this lifestyle because it's just the military is hard. It's very toxic. It's very hard on marriages and relationships. It's difficult for people to stay faithful. I mean, the separation aspect of your spouse, also your kids. It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
And I knew if I wanted this to last and be healthy, that I needed to get out and focus on that. And that was probably one of the most terrifying decisions of my life. Joining is actually easy because you know you're going to be taken care of. You got a job, you got food, you got clothes, you got shelter, you got all of it, right? When you get out, it's like, holy moly, I've been trained and groomed to think and act and behave a certain way and not really have to like take care of myself, like not have to worry about bills or when the next paycheck is coming or the medical bills or the dental bills or any of that. That's all just part of being in the military. So having to take all that on when you get out is very like overwhelming. It's very scary. But I read a book called, I don't know who wrote it, but it's called If You Want to Walk on Water, You Got to Get Out of the Boat. It's a faith book. It's a Christian book.
Yeah.
And I read that book, and that's what really gave me the courage to take that step and take that leap to get out. So I think a part of it was the Holy Spirit prompting me on where he wants me to go, but also giving me the tools and the resources to build that courage and build that faith and trust in him to actually make that, that decision.
Yeah.
So, and everything worked out. I got I think I was on unemployment for, I don't know, maybe a month or so while I looked for another job. And I remember it was like maybe 1 week. I had like maybe 1 week left of the unemployment before it ran out when I got hired for that job.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. So it all worked out kind of perfectly, but it was difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the relationship aspect of it and kind of digging into that a little bit, if you don't mind, is how do you, because obviously there's a lot of hurt, both sides, and we don't know the details of things that went on and whatnot, but the hurt, probably some jealousy, all these little things. How do you, move beyond that and allow that water to disappear or go under the bridge and actually be gone under the bridge and move forward with where you're at with your relationship?
That's a great question. And I think, to be honest with you, is we buried it. We didn't talk about it. We knew we both wronged each other. We knew we both hurt each other. Obviously, we apologized, right? We apologized and, made it right, but we never talked through it. We never dealt with it. We never brought it up. We knew things happened and there was resentment on both sides. And we didn't really, we didn't talk about it at all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up until, 2024. Yeah, 2024. So almost 2 years ago was when we actually did that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally sat down and talked about it.
Yeah. So
Rip some Band-Aids off there.
Yeah, big time.
Scabs.
Right.
So you just have the one daughter, or do you have multiple kids now?
We have our daughter, who's 20. She'll be moving back here soon, beginning of June. We're super excited with her fiance.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's getting married young, just like we did.
Yeah.
And then we have our son, Jeremiah. I don't know if no, I don't think you've met him.
I don't think so.
Yeah. He's 15.
Okay.
So he'll be 16 in June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Is he?
So the
is he
two
a
kids.
chip off the old block, or is he?
He's a good kid.
Yeah.
He's a good kid. He's taller than me now, bigger than me now. He ain't stronger than me, but not yet.
Speaking of strength, one of the things that I learned about you that I didn't know is that you've done like 84 Ironman in a year or something like that.
Yeah, not Iron Man. I still got to do an Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, Spartan races.
Spartan races.
Yeah.
So how many, what, 16, 15 in a year?
No, I did. What was it? Honestly, I can't remember. I think it was like 20 something.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that was in 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did my first one probably 10 years ago or so.
Okay.
And for about maybe 2 or 3 years, I kind of did a bunch of them. I did like 2 my first year, and then 3 the next year, and then 3 more the next year. And then I stopped. And then I didn't start doing them again until 2023. I think 2023 I did 3. And then 2024 came around, and I was like, I'm going balls to the walls, baby. I'm going to do as many as I can. So you can buy like a season pass, like a competitor pass,
Okay.
and you get basically unlimited races.
No kidding.
Yeah, so that's what I
You
did.
just got to show up.
You just got to show up and you got to get there,
No
right?
kidding.
Yeah. So I did it. I invested the money, and I'm like, I'm going to do as many races as I can.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went to Texas. I went to Colorado. I went to California. I went to Nevada. I went all over the place and did, like 20 something races. So there's 3 different levels of races. There's more. There's like 4 or 5, but the 3 main ones it's a sprint, super, and beast.
Okay.
It's like a 5K, 10K, and half marathon. And if you do all 3 in 1 year, you get a medal, or it's called a trifecta. And it's actually a medal holder, and all 3 medals from each race, they're like a pie. They fit in it to make one thing.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's called a trifecta. So if you do all 3 in 1 year, you get a trifecta. If you do 6, 2 of each one, you get a double trifecta, and then a triple trifecta, and So I did a times 6 trifecta. So that would be almost times 7.
No.
So I guess that would be 18. So yeah, like 20 races, 21 races.
He must have been in really good shape.
I was, but I was beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was beat up. And I injured my back halfway through the season. Constantly had like torn calves. So I would start a race in like 12, 13 mile race, and mile 2, my calf would lock up. So I'd have to do the whole race with a tight calf, and yeah, but that was fun. I don't know if I'll ever do it again. I want to do it again. It's just, it's really hard on the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard on the body. And
I've wanted to do one. And it's interesting because when I was in I wrestled in high school, wrestled in college, played football, and then fought forest fires for 6 years. I was in such good shape. And now I look back and I think, God, if I could even get halfway back to that body,
yeah.
but I've thought about that, but I don't know that, like, my joints and stuff, I got shoulder problems and,
right.
Everything else. It's like, but I think about it, it's like the competitive nature in me would be like,
oh yeah, you'd love it.
Yeah,
you'd love it. It's addictive.
I'm sure.
And it's a great experience, and it's a great community.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone's, watching this knows, they know. If they've done one, they know. It's just a really positive environment. Everyone's like cheering for you. They're helping you. They're encouraging you. They're friendly. Everyone's happy to be there.
Yeah.
So it's just a really cool experience.
Was there a specific type of training that was the best to get you ready for that, or did you kind of do a little bit of everything?
So I did mainly CrossFit.
Okay.
That's like what I still do. And then on top of that, I would do just running, trail running, hiking and trail running. And then actually that year where I did, all the races, I actually joined the climbing gym, Alta. I think it's in Gilbert or Queen Creek.
Yeah. I know exactly.
I joined Alta because I wanted to strengthen my upper body, because a lot of the obstacles are, upper body reliant as far as your strength and stuff like that. So I wanted to get really good, swinging and doing rings and all that good stuff. So I actually joined a climbing gym to use that as part of my training. But all that did was, it did make me stronger as far as like grip strength and things, but it also overworked my shoulders.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting shoulder injuries.
It's funny when you talk about that, because that's right now what I'm dealing with. I have to have shoulder surgery later this month on my left shoulder. My right shoulder is starting to really bug me. So I'm pretty sure it's coming next, and, but it's that thing where it's like, you go to the gym, it's like, you just can't really do anything because it's so much of it is that, unless you're working legs, but then even still, it's crazy. But one of the things that you mentioned was focusing or being intent on changing your family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me what that means.
So that means a few different things. I was the first in my family to go active duty military. I was the first in my family to own a house. I think my sister owned a house before me, but as far as like my parents and stuff, I was the first in my family to get a college degree. That's something I did. I started in the Navy and then I finished it when I got out. So those things are kind of like things that I've already accomplished that a lot of my family hasn't. But what it really means aside from that is changing my family tree as far as breaking through the strongholds, the generational sin, the self-limiting beliefs, things like that. The closeness relationship, like with my kids versus what I had with my parents. Things like that. Learning how to talk through your problems and through your emotions, and really learning how to love and things like that is really and addictions and things like that that's the breakthrough. That's the breaking the family tree. And then even just, even financially, not having kind of a broke mindset of like, I can never be a millionaire. Or I can never make this much money, or I can never run my own business, like things like that. I want to break through that. I want to be the one who changes my family tree in all those areas. And show my kids and even my parents and my nephews and my nieces and, my grandkids that you really can accomplish anything if you just put your mind to it and put in the work. It's all work at the end of the day. I mean, you're a business owner. It comes down to putting in the work. And that's with careers, that's with businesses, that's with relationships, all of it, so that's really what that means. So I'm 43 now. When we lived in Oregon, when I was about 30, probably 35 to 39, we lived in Oregon for 4 years and just became really unhealthy, gained a ton of weight, wasn't really healthy. Spiritually, I started to get healthy, but mentally not very healthy. Jessica wasn't very healthy in all areas. And as I was approaching my 40s, I was like, something needs to change.
Yeah.
Because if I continue down this road with all these aspects, all these areas of my life not being healthy in a good, healthy position, like what does that look like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? So I started to think about my future self, which it took me that long to do, right? I was in my mid-30s before I actually thought like that.
Well, and that's probably a lot earlier than some people,
myself
included.
Some people never do.
I think about it quite a bit. Do something about it is a different story.
Right, yeah. So I made the decision. I was like, you know what? When I turn 40, I'm going to make a life change. I'm going to change every area of my life. I'm going to get healthy.
Was it the Tim McGraw song?
No,
My next 40 years.
Is that what he talks about?
Yeah. My next 40 years.
No, I don't listen to country, so
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't know. But I was like, I'm going to work hard to get healthy in my relationships, in my spirit, my spirituality, in my finances, in my mental health, in my physical health. I mean, everything. I made the decision when I turned 40, I'm going to make all these changes and live differently. And we moved here into Arizona in 2022.
Okay.
And I was 39. So with the whole new move, being in a different area, warm, sunny, happy people.
Yeah.
I was like, it was like 6 months until I turned 40. And I just thought, you know what, why wait until I turned 40 to start making these changes? Just do it now.
Yeah.
So we found a good CrossFit gym that we go to in Queen Creek, and we started, eating cleaner and started to go through therapy as far as like working through some of my trauma with the divorce and different things in my life, and figure out things about myself that I necessarily don't like, and maybe like how I react to things and the ways that I treat my family that I don't like, or the ways I respond to things that I'm not proud of. Really working through, why am I like that? Why do I do these things? Why do I feel this way? Why do I bottle my emotions? Like all these different things. And I knew the only way to really understand that and break through that and to change that is to like go through therapy and talk to someone and actually talk through all those things that I experienced as a younger child. And the separation with Jessica and all the things,
Yeah.
you know, even just being a veteran and the things I experienced in the military and the way I was trained and treated. And now I'm treating, you know, other people that way when they don't necessarily deserve to be treated that way. So started to do therapy and work through all that. And it was a process, and it was the self-development process. And I was like, I want to self-develop. I want to get better in every area of my life. I'm committed. I'm going to do it. And that's, you know, that's the path. That's the journey I've been on since we moved here to Arizona.
Nice.
And that's one of the reasons why I did decide to do the Spartan
Okay.
races. Cause I'm like, I need something to train for,
Yeah.
you know, I need something to do. So I was like, you know, I talked to a buddy in California and San Diego that I used to hang out with. I said, hey, do you want to do some Spartan races with me? He's like, yeah. So that first year I did the 3 with him. And then that was in the second year. I was like, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to elevate this, take this to the next level. And that's when I did the, you know, the season pass.
Yeah.
So
That's impressive. That's impressive. Yeah. Through that, I'm hearing, you know, one of the things we talk quite a bit about is leadership, and we haven't talked about you actually, you know, being in a leadership position, although I hear a lot of leadership aspect come out of your thought. Maybe it's leadership of yourself or leadership of, you know, jumping in the Spartan race and going and doing that and getting your buddy. And, you know, how is your vision of leadership, whatever that definition is, changed from when you first joined the Navy to now? You've got a 20-year-old daughter, and, you know, you've rediscovered your relationship with Jessica and those types of things. How has that changed, or has it?
it's definitely changed. I've definitely grown as a leader, learned, you know, what leadership is, good leadership is, experienced a lot of good and bad leadership in the Navy. So that was kind of an easy way to, you know, figure out what I like and what I don't like and what works and what doesn't work. And as a leader, who I don't want to be and who I want to be. I was never really a leader while I was in the Navy. And I started to kind of take on a leadership role. I mean, obviously when I had my kids, you know, you're by default, you're a leader. At least you have the responsibility of a leader. It doesn't necessarily make you a leader.
Right.
Yeah. So I had that role. And again, like they don't come with a, you know, instruction manual, you know? So unless you had like a great upbringing, really good parents and close relationship, and they talked you through everything and showed, you know, then you're just kind of winging it, you know? And that's what, you know, unfortunately that's what we've done with our kids.
Yeah.
It's just a learning process. But I started to get into like a leadership role when my daughter started playing softball. Yeah. So she played soccer when she was like little. And me and my wife don't like soccer. So we're like, we got to get her something different. This is too painful. So I was like, she should play softball, right? Because like playing baseball,
A little more action.
yeah, growing up, I'm like, she needs to play softball. So she started playing softball, and I think she played one season. Yeah, she played one season, you know, under a different coach.
Okay.
And then that following season, I got asked if I could help coach as an assistant coach, and I did. So she was probably, she was probably 6 or 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I coached her from that point. I coached her all the way through till she was 14,
Oh, wow.
maybe 15.
Okay.
But even before that, we were doing CrossFit in San Diego, and we were part of a really good CrossFit gym, and got really involved with that. I even competed in that after I did it for maybe 2 years, and really got the movement down and got really strong. I started to compete in little local kind of CrossFit competitions around the San Diego area and stuff. And the gym had a competition team that they would, you know, train you. You just had to show up and they would train you, and you just had to commit to the training because you're representing the gym as a competitor, right?
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then I began to grow a love for the sport of CrossFit, and then became a coach. So have you ever done CrossFit?
No.
No?
No.
So every class has a coach.
Okay.
And the coach will, you know, usually guide a warm up. They'll do a warm up, some stretching, and then they will go over whatever the workout is. They'll break down the movements, show you how, you know, the correct form, and make sure that if you're not very experienced, they'll make sure that you're not doing too much weight or any weight at all. Sometimes they want to make it safe for everybody, and they'll coach everyone in that class, you know, through the workout. And then the workout starts, and they're coaching you, and they're pushing you, and they're motivating you. And it's a really great, again, a really great community to be in, really positive environment. So I started as a CrossFit coach. So I got certified. You have to get certified through CrossFit. You got to take a class and pass a test and get certified. So I got certified, and I started coaching. And I didn't do it too long, like maybe 6 months or so. And then that was when they needed me as a coach for softball. So I actually had to give up coaching CrossFit, which also was second income, which was nice because now I had, more money coming in, doing something that I love to do. So it really wasn't work. I was there anyways.
Yeah.
So I had to give that up to coach my daughter's softball. So that was really when I first started, as a leader. But even then I didn't really look at myself as a leader. I looked at myself as a coach, right? Like I'm just going to help these people get through this class. I'm going to help these girls play a sport.
Yeah.
I'm not going to help them develop. And I didn't really begin to have that mindset of, okay, well, yes, I can coach the sport, but I can also coach them on different values and fundamentals and things that they can take from the sport through the discipline, through the hard work, through the pain, through the, overcoming doubt and building confidence, like all these things that they can now implement into their lives to help them through life. And I really didn't start to think that way probably until later on in my coaching of softball.
Yeah. And
then it just got so competitive where I was like, okay, I'm ready to pay somebody else coach my daughter.
Yeah.
So that's where the leadership role kind of started to develop. Work wise, no, at least when we were in California working.
What did you do? And I'm sorry to cut you off. What did you do after you left the Navy and then you got your first job?
Right. Yeah. I worked as a DoD contractor. So Department of Defense contractor, working on military aircraft as a civilian. Doing modifications. So what that is the aircraft will come up with, they'll design new systems, whether it's like crew seats, whether it's an egress system, whether it's like an upgrade to the engines or the props or the blades or defense countermeasures, like with lasers. And it could be literally anything. They come up with these upgrades so that these aircraft can be more mission capable and safer and everything. And the engineers would design these systems and then we would install them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was actually a really cool job. It was like really expensive Legos.
It kind of reminds me of is it Q? What's the guy, James Bond, that makes all the cool little...
The little trinkets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you get to install all the cool
new it was really cool.
and...
Everything came in kits. So we get a kit with all the parts and then all the blueprints and the diagrams and everything, and it was literally step one, and you would just go through, and there was electrical side and there was a structural side, and I was obviously structures, but I also learned the electrical side as well, which was really cool. But that's what I did.
How long did you do that?
I did that for a little over 9 years, so almost 10 years
in California. And then was that up in Oregon as well, or
in San Diego? Yeah, and then when we moved to Oregon, that was when I had to pivot and change careers.
Okay.
So in that job in San Diego, really no opportunity to lead. We would do road trips where we would go to another state to go work on a small amount of aircraft. There might be 4 aircraft or 6 aircraft that need to get worked on, and we'd go do it for a few months and then come back. So there was always a team lead for those jobs. I never really desired to do that. That was really the only leadership positions, and it was only short term. So it's it's just that, and they don't pay you anymore, right? You don't get paid for it or compensated or anything. So there's, and we all got paid the same because we were DoD contractors. So it was all government rates. So we all got paid the same.
Yeah.
So
why travel if I'm not going to get anything
right?
else?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So didn't really have any opportunity to lead in that sense as far as work. Outside of that, if we want to stay on the topic of leadership, I really stepped into my next leadership role was in the church. Yeah, in the church. So when we were living in Oregon, we were part of a church in Bend. So we lived in Central Oregon, which is literally right in the middle of the state. You have Bend, Oregon. Most people are familiar with Bend. And then about 20 minutes north, you have Redmond, which is a little tiny podunk town, right? That's where we live. You don't tell people you're from there. You tell people you're from Bend.
Yeah.
Right? So, but the church we were going to was in Bend, Oregon.
Okay.
And they were planting, they had, how many years was it? I think it was 10 years. After 10 years, they ended up planning another church in Redmond.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a kind of a sister church. And they actually hired a pastor. He was from Southern California, and he came out and he was the pastor. He led the church, and so I got to be a part of that church plant. I got to be a part of it took about a year to kind of finalize everything. So I got to be a part of just making it all happen and the planning stages and volunteering and figure things out and building out the different ministries and things like that. And then we finally launched literally 2 weeks before COVID, and we were meeting in a middle school.
Oh, no way.
So we had 2 weeks.
Shut down.
Awesome. Launched the church with 2 services. So, which is like really good. Like if you have enough people where you got to have 2 services right off the bat, like that's God's grace right there, right?
Yeah.
It's God's favor. And we had 2 services and then met for 2 weeks, and they said, no, you can't use the school anymore. It's COVID. Everything's shut down. So we had to go to online. Yeah, we had to go online. So now the 2 churches merged together, and we built a studio in the church in Bend. Just converted the whole auditorium into a studio, and we just did. And we filmed each week. We'd film, the beginning of the week, we'd film the next week's service, and then they would edit it and broadcast it and everything. But I got to, so once that church did launch, the pastor asked me, I was leading a small group at the time. He asked me if I wanted to lead a small group. I said, sure. So I led a small group for like a week, and then it fizzled out because I guess not enough people showed up. Something came up. A couple of people had to drop out. So he's like, it needs to be a certain amount of people. It doesn't make sense to do it. He's like, but I have something else for you. I was like, well, what is it? He's like, how do you feel about leading the men's community or men's ministry? They called it men's community just because they wanted to put an emphasis on community. But it's basically men's ministry. He's like, what do you think about leading the men's ministry? And I'm like, dude, I can't lead the men's ministry. For one, I'm like, I'm not that old, right? I feel like when I think of like men's ministry, I think of like someone older, who maybe is like an empty nester who's kind of has all this experience and is like this strong, godly man, and and I'm like, dude, I can't. How am I going to lead men? And he's like, no, you're doing it. He's like, Vaughn told me, right? He's like, dude, you have a calling. Trust me. He's like, I wouldn't ask you if I didn't know you could handle it, and if I didn't know this was the path that God has for you. Like God is telling me that you are the one for this. So you are doing it. So he's like, but it's really easy. He's like, it's going to be similar to a small group. It's just going to be men. You guys are going to meet once a week in Starbucks or at your house, whatever. I have a little booklet you're going to go through, and you're just going to facilitate, a meeting once a week. Do that for, I think it was like 6 to 8 weeks. He's like, and then after that, we'll do another one, or maybe it'll grow. Enough people will come to where it grows into 2 groups. And then you can help, someone else lead a group. He's like, just don't worry, just take it day at a time. Trust God. He's going to be with you the whole time. He's going to help you. He's going to equip you. So that's what I did. And then I did that for probably like 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Up until we moved. I mean, the COVID stuff finally calmed down. And we were, back in a church, and we were meeting in person. And yeah, for 2 years, I led and built the men's community at our church. And it was really, it wasn't anything I thought I was going to do or wanted to, sign up for. It just fell into my lap, and it was definitely a calling from God. But I got to lead and build an entire community of men, and lead several small groups, several Bible studies, book studies, events, backpacking trips. I mean, all kinds of stuff. And that started off with like maybe 5 or 6 guys. And then by the time I left, it was probably up to like 30 or 40. And then maybe like not even a year later after I left, obviously someone else took over, and it ended up being one of my good friends. And he looked up to me he was younger than me, had really young kids, and he looked up to me as a mentor. So I got to kind of be his friend and mentor him through a lot of stuff and help sharpen him and lead him into that role. And then it ended up being a men's retreat. They did a men's retreat, somewhere up in Oregon. And I was like, I'm going to fly out. I'm going to go to that. Like, I'm going to hang out with you guys. So I went, and there was probably like, I don't know, like 50 guys or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really cool to see like what God allowed me to start and grow. Even when I left, he continued to work, and it grew like even more, like none of it was anything I did. It was all me just being a vessel and allowing him to kind of work through me and being just saying yes to the calling. Right. But that was when that was kind of when I finally accepted, like, okay, I think I'm a leader. Like, I think it's clicking.
do this,
It's clicking now. Yeah.
Well, there's different types of leaders, right? I mean, there's quiet leaders, people that are meant to lead, and people can see that in them, but they don't necessarily see it in themselves. And there's leaders that are more like the general, right? The robust guy puts himself out there. He's like, I'm the man, type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to get around to the digital stuff, because you obviously now have Red Crane Digital.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right name, right?
Yeah.
Crane.
Yeah. Red Crane Digital.
Like all of a sudden I'm like,
you got it.
Is that the right name?
You got it.
At what point did you get introduced to that? Because obviously flight mechanic, engineer,
yeah,
whatever that title would be, to, working in the church and doing stuff, and I'm assuming probably doing some other little things along the way. But at what point did you get introduced to the video stuff and make that pivot
into full-time entrepreneurship? It's kind of a cool story, and it all comes back to, I should say, the self-development journey, right? So me and Jessica, my wife, we've been on this self-development journey since the time we moved here. It's like, okay, well, what does the best version of ourselves look like, in all these different areas? And we just kept pushing towards that and disciplining ourselves towards that. And part of that, after a couple years, we moved here. So in 2024, so we would watch like things on YouTube, we would follow people like, the Goggins and, things like that, motivational stuff. We'd follow these people and just kind of pick their brains and take some of the stuff that they teach and the things that we liked, we'd implement into our lives to, just continue to improve. So we realized that there's this whole kind of self-development industry out there with seminars and coaches and paid mentorship and all these things that we never even thought of before. And I think I've mentioned this to you as far as like podcast stuff. Patrick Bet-David, I don't know if you ever looked into it, but Patrick Bet-David was someone that we followed. And then, do you know who Andy Elliott is? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Andy Elliott, he's a sales coach, one of like the most successful sales coaches in the country. I started seeing a lot of his stuff. And I remember up until that point, I remember seeing it like even prior to like maybe a year before that. And back then he was super intense. Like he's way different now. But back then he was so intense, and this is bald guy with veins popping out, screaming and yelling. I'm like, who's this guy? And I just, ignored him. And then I was actually driving to Vegas for work for like a week. And I'm like, I need to listen to a podcast or listen to something. It was like, 4 or 5 hours. And he came up, I think on Instagram, but he wasn't talking about sales. He was talking about self-development. And what he said, I don't remember what he said, but he was like, yeah, if you want to change your life, or if you want to be better at this or better at this, he's like, you need to do these things. Like you need to discipline yourself. You need to do this, you need to do that. And I was like, that's good. So I was like, who is this guy? I've seen him before. Who is this guy? So I went to YouTube and I looked him up on YouTube, and I just watched one of his videos. It was probably 20 or 30 minutes. And it was a lot about self-development, and I'm like, dude, this guy's super, like, I don't like how intense this guy is. He's swearing and he's yelling and he's too much for me. Like, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
But what he was saying was like kind of spot on. So I like literally listened to him like the whole drive, the whole way there. And then continued to listen to him and follow him on Instagram and stuff. And he had, on one of his posts, he had a call to action, like, if you're ready to level up, DM me, level up or something like that. So I did. So I DM'd him, and then somebody got a hold of me from his office and was like, hey man, if you're serious about this, just serious about that, you should come out to Arizona and come to this event. And I was like, dude, I live in Arizona. He's like, oh, you're local? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, then just come to they call it the Lion's Den. Mm-hmm. He's like, come to the den and just meet us. Like, just come hang out with us for a day. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, you can meet Andy and this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I have
the Kool-Aid when I walk in the door.
I have like no idea what to expect. I'm like, dude, I don't even know anything about these guys, right? It's the Elliott Group. That's the name of the company. It's a sales training company. Like, I have no idea about these guys. I'm like, are these guys for real? Are they scammers? Like, what even is this about? So I did. So like maybe a week later, I set up a time to go up there and met with them, and they all were like really super cool people, like super genuine. And I actually bought a ticket to their next seminar. They sold me on a ticket. They're sales trainers, so they know how to sell, right? They're master closers.
Master closers.
Yeah. So they sold me on a ticket to a seminar, and Patrick Bet David was the guest speaker for that seminar. So I was like, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Amongst several other speakers that were there. So I went, and that was the first time I ever invested money into myself as far as self-development, you know? And it was a lot of money. It was a VIP ticket. It was like $5,000. You know, Jessica was like, dude, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I feel like I need to do this. Like, I feel like this is the next step. I feel like if I want breakthrough and I want to reach that level, I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to learn, or like, I have no idea, but something just kept pushing me to go. And I did it. So I bought the ticket. I spent the $5,000. I went. It was amazing. So the day before the event, they do a workout, or they did a workout, like a big group workout, because they're huge into fitness. So they're also about, you know, personal development. And if you want to be good at sales, if you want to be good at anything, you need to love yourself and treat your body well. You need to be in shape, and you need to have, what do they call it? Moral authority, you know, to where when you walk in a room, you look put together. You look like, okay, yeah, I'll take advice from that guy. Like, I won't take advice from this guy, but I'll take advice from that guy, kind of thing. So they're big into like fitness and taking care of your body and things like that. So they do a workout. Before the workout, my rep, who was the person I was contacted with, who I was in communication with, he was like, hey, are you doing anything today at like noon? I'm like, I'm working, but I can probably leave work early. He's like, well, we're going to meet at this cigar lounge in Scottsdale. It's kind of a small private thing, like invite only, but you're invited. Like, come hang out and smoke some cigars with us before the workout. I was like, okay. So I did. And I didn't know like what to expect or anything. And I go and do it and start talking to people. Everyone's talking and mingling and introducing each other. He's like, yeah, it's just networking. And at that time, I'm like, what's networking even mean? A network I thought was like, you know, IT, like communications, like computers. What's networking, right? Like I had no idea, because I'd always worked a 9-to-5 job and wasn't in that type of space at all. So I'm like, what's networking? Just meeting people, I guess. So they were all networking and talking. So I started talking to people, and then I started to realize that the room I was in, almost all of them were like multimillionaires. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't even know. I thought millionaires, you had to be a doctor or a lawyer, you know, or you inherited, you know, a bunch of money from your family or something. Like, I had no idea, like, people in sales made millions, and, you know, just business owners, you know, all the different ways to do it. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy that I'm like having conversations with like millionaires. Like that was like, whoa, to me. Like, I never thought that big, right? So like going back to the changing my family tree, like my family's kind of the same way. Like, we just never thought that big. And to be honest, I think most of society doesn't think that big. If you tell somebody, hey, are you ever going to make $1 million? They're going to say no. Yeah, right. I wish, right? Yeah. And that's just kind of the culture and the mindset. So I want to break out of that. But anyways, that was my first experience being around those people. So they did that, did the workout, did the event, went through the whole day of all the training and everything, took tons of notes, and then went to the VIP party. And again, I'm just meeting, like, now I get it. Now I'm like, because they kept saying, you're one handshake away from completely changing your life. Yeah. They're like, people will come to these things and they'll spend, you know, $5,000, $2,000, whatever level ticket they buy. They'll spend the money. They'll watch the seminar. They'll be like, yeah, this is all good. And then they just won't do anything. They won't meet anybody. They won't get anyone's number. They won't even take notes. And if they do take notes, they won't even look at them when they go home. So I started to get it, and I'm like, well, I don't want that to be me. Like, I invested a lot of money into this. I want to like get out of this as much as I can. So that's when I realized, well, I need to start just having conversations with people, even though I'm not a business owner. I'm not in sales. I have nothing to offer these guys. They really don't have anything to offer me, because I'm already in a, multi-6-figure career. Like, I'm good. I'm comfortable. I don't need all this. I just want to level up personally, as a person. So I just started networking, and it like after that event, I went home and I was just like mind blown. I was like, holy crap. Like all these people were super cool. They all were super friendly. I mean, it's kind of like APN, right? I mean, there's a lot of successful people.
Yeah.
And no one has egos. No one has pride. Like it's all friendly, you know?
Yep.
And if we can help each other out, we do, we don't really ask for anything in return, right?
Yeah.
It's the rule of reciprocity. And, I go home and I try to tell Jessica and she's just like, okay, like you can't explain.
You can't explain an experience like that.
You can't.
No.
You're right. You can't. So my rep was like, hey, why don't we schedule a time for you and your wife and your son to come up here so they can meet us and they can kind of see, what we're about and kind of get a feel for the energy and things like that. So that very next weekend, there was another event going on and we went up there for free and hung out for a few hours and talked to, who is now like one of my mentors, even my son's mentor, talked to him for like a couple hours and shared our story and she got to kind of see that. And then they invited us to another seminar, which was a couples mastermind. And so Andy and Jackie's his wife, they built at that time, it had been 3 years and they built a 9-figure business in 3 years. Sales training. Yeah. Wow. In 3 years, built a team, everything. We started with nothing. So they did it together, husband and wife team together as one. And that's the whole weekend of the couples mastermind that's what they kind of go into is like, if you're trying to build something great and you're married, if you guys can get on board and do it together, he's like, you're unstoppable. And it'll make it a lot easier and you guys will be way more powerful together versus trying to do separate things or live separate lives. And then they just went into all the relationship stuff and all the marriage stuff and the resentment and the healing and just they covered so much. And I mentioned in the beginning of, our discussion about not addressing those resentments and those wounds. You asked about how did you deal and cope with all the things that the feelings and the hurt and all that. After that event was when all that surfaced. Yeah. Okay. Because we learned from what they taught us is like, if you guys are going to do something, if you guys want to be like the best version of you guys, like as one, as a couple, as a family, as a unit, like you can't have secrets, you can't have resentment, you can't have any of that stuff. You need to talk it through. And I realized that and I was like, man, there's so much stuff, right? There's like so much stuff I haven't told her that I've done that things that I've done to hurt her that she doesn't even know about and vice versa. And the ride home, it's in Fountain Hills. So we live in Queen Creek. It's like an hour ride home. We talked the whole hour ride home and stuff came up. And then we got home, I don't know, late. And then we literally sat in our room till like 2 or 3 in the morning talking about all these things and all this stuff came up and things that I honestly never would have thought. I wanted to tell her and confess to her and share with her, but I honestly never thought that the day would come where I'd have the courage to do it. And if I did, who knows what the outcome would be? Is she going to freak out? Is she going to divorce me? Like these things, right? And no, like we shared stuff with each other and it was just, it was healing,
That's awesome.
And we were able to apologize and forgive. And it comes with a whole workbook that you go through. And we went through some of it. And like, just from that moment on, our marriage has been like rock.
That's powerful.
Rock solid. It was already good. It was really good. At that time we were married 21 years, 22 years, pretty healthier than a lot of our friends, a lot of our, our parents, like our siblings, everything. We're good. And we both had really good jobs. We were super comfortable. And that was the problem. That was one of the takeaways from the seminar was like comfortable is a bad place to be because you can't grow. Like there's another version of you that needs to get unlocked. And if you're comfortable and you stay there, like nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
And comfort, they say that comfort, if you don't kill comfort, comfort will kill you. Meaning you're never going to reach that potential if you don't get uncomfortable and break through that and continue to grow. Yeah. So that was really what got me like thinking of the self-development and then investing into myself as far as like, continue to grow, continue to self-improve. And then after that couples mastermind, seeing what they built, their 9-figure business that they built in 3 years, I was like, well, what are we going to do? Let's not do the same thing. Let's not like try to make a 9-figure business, but let's at least do something like of our own. And going back to that first event that I attended, talking about like millionaires that I met, that I had conversations with, some of them were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Some of them were 19, 20, 21 years old who did like, media stuff, kind of similar to what we're doing, and different things in sales and things like that. And I'm like, dude, these are just kids. Like they're our daughter's age, and they're already making over $1 million a year. That's insane, right?
Yeah.
So it got us thinking. I'm like, none of these people are any different than us. Like we're all human, and most of them are like high school dropouts or college dropouts.
Yeah.
Most of them. Yeah. That's the funny thing. I'm like, it's not like these people are smart.
Right.
They just went against the grain.
Yeah.
They weren't going to settle for mediocrity, and they weren't going to settle for average. And they went down a different path, the path that the path that everyone told them not to go down.
Right.
The path where they're like, oh, you're crazy. You can't do that. You can't, you're going to fail. That's stupid. That's where they went and they succeeded. And they probably used a lot of that negativity as fuel.
Right.
Right.
To fuel them. Yeah.
Yeah. But we started to realize, well, we're not dumb. We're smart people. And we know that when we're together as one, me and Jessica, like we're pretty unstoppable. Like we're a power couple if we put our, our minds and everything together. So we decided, all right, well, let's figure it out. Let's do something. Don't know what it is. Let's do something. And we actually got into wholesale real estate.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was the path that we decided, because like we knew we wanted to get into some kind of sales, but it's like, okay, I can't sell solar. I can't sell anything I don't believe in. I don't believe in solar. I don't believe in, putting people in debt, tens of thousands of dollars for a car that they can't afford. I don't believe in trying to sell people on, a new roof when they don't need it, like all these things, right? So I'm like, I can't sell these things because I'm not passionate about it. There's no conviction. I'm like, what else can we do? And I was like, real estate's not bad. Like that's one of those things that's pretty honest, and what they can afford and what they can't afford, And then we heard about wholesale real estate, and what we heard made it sound really easy. Like it sounded really easy. I'm like,
it was easy. Everybody be doing it.
Right. So it sounded really easy.
Yeah.
Like, you can, you can find a house that, is someone needs to sell it, really quick, or they're in a bad situation, or it needs a ton of work, and you can, basically get it under contract for super cheap, and then you can sell it for more to an actual investor. And then you take it was all explained to us, and we were like, that sounds pretty easy to do. So we did it, and we invested. We wiped out our savings and we invested in a coach, and between the coach, the marketing, everything, it was like 20 grand. Right. So we're like, we're going all in, we're doing this. Yeah. Right. And that was like our emergency fund. And up until this point, we had worked really hard to get out of debt, to build an emergency fund. And we were throwing, thousands of dollars on our house extra each month. Cause we're like, dude, we're going to get our house paid off by this year. We're going to get out of the rat race. Oops. And that's what we were doing. And then we just discovered, well, we could continue to do that, or we can go pursue our dreams, and take the risk. So that's what we did. Yeah. So we emptied our emergency fund, our savings, and invested in a coach, and did the wholesale real estate for 6 months, maybe 8 months, closed one deal, made $1,000. Yeah. It shouldn't even have closed. By the grace of God, it closed. We made $1,000, which is nothing, right? We lost so much money. And then we finally realized, you know what? I don't think wholesale is it for us. I don't think even real estate is it for us. So we're like, well, what do we do? And I didn't want to quit. Jessica was like, it's okay to have a failed business. It's okay. And I'm like, my competitive nature, I'm like, no, it's not okay. Our coach told us the only way we're going to lose is if we quit. We can't quit, So I'm like, I don't quit. I don't give up, I couldn't do it. And it just got so overwhelming where I was like, you know what? I think you're right. I think maybe we pull the plug on this and pivot and do something else. So then it was okay. And she had already quit her job at the same time. So right after that couple's mastermind, when we got into wholesale real estate, she quit her job. I said, the only way we're going to do this is if one of us quits our job or both of us quits our job. Like there's no way that we can invest our time and energy into this business while working full time.
Mm-hmm.
So because my job pays more than hers and she was under my benefits and everything, it made more sense for her to quit the job, take on most of the role with the wholesale real estate and go that way. But so she quit her job, and then we decided, you know what, wholesale real estate isn't for us. Now what do we do? And she's like, well, if I need to get a job, I'll get a job. I'm like, no, you're not getting a job. Like, we're not going back.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going backwards. We're going to keep moving forward. And we were just kind of like, well, what do we do? And at the time, our son, Jeremiah, we had been pushing him to start his own. We've been pushing him for years to start his own business. And he didn't like the neighborhood. He called it J&S, Jeremiah's Neighborhood Services. And it was like dog poop.
Oh, yeah.
Trash cans, weeds, you know, whatever he could get, excuse me. And he did that for a little bit, but because it was door knocking, like he'd go knock like a few houses and then I'll say no. And he'd be like, I'm done. I'm like, dude, you can't let like no's like stop you. You just got to keep going. You got to keep going because you're going to get the one yes, you know? And then that person, you do a good job, that person's going to refer you to their friends and their neighbors and it's just going to start growing. But he was young. He was like 14 at the time. So then I told him, so we were going to a lot of these different seminars, even within the wholesale real estate. We started to go to those types of seminars to learn and to grow in that niche, in that industry. And what we discovered was there was a lot of media people with cameras and stuff. And we told Jeremiah, we said, dude, why don't you start learning how to operate a camera? Because you could probably like start a video business or something at a young age, filming for somebody and then like producing content for them, you know? And he's like, okay. So like we had like some old cameras that we had back in the day and he started using those and he would take it with us when we would go, he'd come with us and he would film and do things. And we kind of built out a whole business plan for him and he never did anything with it.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to help you. So we're going to invest in some camera equipment and we're going to do it together. And I think this was before we pivoted to the Red Crane. We were still doing the wholesale real estate. We started this and again, he did it for like a week, you know, and then he like lost interest. So now I'm like, have all this stuff. He's not really doing it. And also at the same time, our church that we were going to, I volunteered for like to be a part of production and a part of video.
Okay.
Because it's always been a passion for me. It's always been a hobby. It's always been a passion. It's something I do just on the side for fun. Never monetized it, never sold anything, never made any money off it. Just did it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge creativity side of me that gets unlocked and I get fired up with it. I get locked in, you know, in the zone and I just go with it and, you know, have a really good time filming and making videos. And so I wanted to do that with the church because I was like, I want to serve with the church, but I don't want to like hold a sign. You know, I don't want to be an usher. I definitely don't want to work with kids. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what can I do? So I was like, can I be like run a video camera or like help do the social media, you know, or be part of production? And I'm like, yeah. So I started doing that. And the person that was the creative arts director at the time had a lot of experience in it. So he was showing me all kinds of different skills and strategies and ways to control the lighting and the settings on the cameras and editing tools and all these things. And so I started doing that. And then that was when we decided, you know, right around the same time was when we decided maybe wholesale real estate isn't for us. What are we going to do? And I was like, why don't we do something in video? You know, I'm like, we have some good camera equipment. I'm already doing video for the church, so I'm learning. You have always had a lot of experience with social media. You've had some experience with marketing. Why don't we do some kind of video, you know, marketing agency where we can like do content for people or we can do online ads for people or, you know, so we started brainstorming and then we were like, that's it. That's what we're going to do. So that's kind of how,
I'm morphed into it.
Yeah. How it just came about. And it all happened. Like we didn't take a lot of time thinking about it. It was like a pretty quick decision. And then we just went all in on it.
So talk to me a little bit about those services now that you provide.
Yeah. So, we provide a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. Mainly, I guess if I were to say like ideal client wise, we like to work with service companies who are open and willing and wanting to leverage social media as far as building their sales funnel, getting them out there so that people know who they are, so that they're the authority in their industry. Because you could be the best plumber, you could be the best pool designer, you can be the best anything, right? But if no one knows who you are, then you don't exist. So what is everybody doing? They're on their phones, right? So they're scrolling, ads are popping up, things like that. So we knew that there's a huge need for it. It's an easy way to market, and kind of that's what we do. So we help service businesses build their social media. We kind of offer two things. If we'll do social media plus ads, we'll do just ads, or we'll do kind of just social media. It just depends on what they want.
Gotcha.
But basically what we'll do is we'll, use our creativity mindset and ideas, and help create content for businesses so that they can post it and they can, spread their awareness of who they are, build their brand, and really become the authority, in their industry, and convert all that to leads. So running ads works really well because there's always a call to action. So when people, DM or fill out a form, that's a lead coming in, and we set up, the back end stuff for that sales funnel. We build it out through a CRM so that when those leads do come in, there's some automation set up to where they're getting DM'd right away. They're getting responses right away. The business owner knows they're getting alerts on their phone, so they can call them right away. So there's systems in place to where, it's not like leads aren't falling through the cracks. It's set up in a way to where they're getting taken care of. Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
So we do that. And then we also do special events. We do a lot of event coverage. So even like with the Elliott Group, a lot of those events, sponsors will come in, or influencers will come in, or business owners will come in, and they want content of them there at that event that they can use for their social media and things like that. So they'll contract us out for a weekend to film them for a couple of days. We'll do that. We have a client in Orlando. We're actually going there this weekend to film one of his events. And out of that, we'll throw together a recap video. Out of that, we'll pull probably a handful of short form reels that he can put on his Instagram. And then we'll deliver all of the raw footage to him as well. So now he has that to where he can utilize that to make his own, reels and things like that. So it's really whatever the client wants.
Gotcha.
As far as their level of like, hey, I want everything. Like, I want you to do everything. I want you to do my YouTube, do my Instagram, run ads, do this. Some people just want, raw content, and they have an editor that they use. So it just kind of depends on what they want. But we do a little bit of everything.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here?
We scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, we scale. So, we're already building our team. So we hired it's funny you asked that. We hired our first full-time employee today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So now instead of just me and Jessica, it's, one other person added to the puzzle. And so we're just trying to scale. And we know that, building a business and growing, you have to invest in marketing, you have to invest in building your team, things like that. The money you make, you can't just keep it all and, go on vacation. You gotta pour it back into the business, right? So that's what we're doing, because we understand that. And that's because a lot of the mentorship and stuff that we've been taught through our coaches and things. So right now we're scaling little by little, right? We'll take on more clients, feel overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to handle this? We'll figure it out. We'll outsource what we can. We'll kind of stabilize, and then we'll be like, okay, let's grow. And then we'll kind of add more, and then the same thing. So right now that's the plan, is just moving forward, is just to scale this, as big as we can.
Yeah.
I don't have an end goal in mind as far as, where I want to go, but we're not putting a cap on it. That's for sure. If we can make this into a $1 million business in the next, few years, that'd be awesome.
2.5 years.
Yeah, exactly. 2.5 years. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Set the goal high. If you now could go back and give that 18-year-old kid who was going into the Navy 2 weeks after graduation some worldly advice,
Man,
what would you give him?
I don't think he'd listen. First off, oh man, that's so hard. I would tell him, or any 18-year-old listening, I would just say, be a student, learn. I know you know it all. I know you know everything, right? Because that's what they think. That's what we thought. I said, but just, be a student, learn. There's always room for growth. You never make it until you make it, but that never happens. Like there's no end of the road, you know, there's always room for growth. You hit a goal, you set a new goal, you set a higher goal.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say, you know, just always continue to grow. Think of when you're young, you don't think of your future. When you're young, you don't think, where am I going to be or where do I want to be in 10 years or 5 years or 20 years? You don't think of that. Think of that. That's what I'd tell them. You know, I'd say, think about your future because it does. It does come. Be intentional with the way you live. Yeah. I had no one to do that for me. I just kind of just went, you know, I just
plow forward.
Exactly.
I don't see myself too wildly different. I mean, I feel like, you know, it's funny because the conversation I had in my head was I'm going to be able to give my kids more than my parents ever gave me.
Mm-hmm.
My parents never got divorced. They were together and, you know, that whole thing. But we just never had a lot of stuff, a lot of money, you know, all that. And I've just always felt like, you know, when people ask me the question, if you could have lunch with any celebrity, who would it be? You know, it's like, I don't know, because there are people that I think would be very interesting conversations to have, but there's nobody that I'm like fangirl out, right? Mm-hmm. It's like they put their shoes and socks on the same way we do. Right. You know, so it's like, it's such a weird concept for me. Like I see people get really giddy and excited about people. Yeah, there's people I'd love to have conversations with. I'd love to learn more about them. I'd love to understand their motivation, you know, their determination, their dedication, their whatever it is. But knowing that we all have, really, truly, we all have the same opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we do with the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you could have walked away from Jessica, and man, I commend you because I've been through a divorce, and the tearing apart of that is it's a major thing. So the fact that you figured out a way to work through it and still continue to work, I'm sure it's not over.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The work's not done.
Yeah, it's every day, especially now that we're together. Every day.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I commend you for that, and I appreciate that about you and your willingness to share really quickly, and we'll kind of wrap up because we might be getting a little bit long here. But if you could speak to somebody who was in that position of comfort, right? You bring that up with regards to, you know, if you're comfortable, you're dying, or however you put that. If you could talk to somebody right now who's sitting on the fence of, I kind of have this idea, I kind of want to do this, I'm not sure, I'm not ready, I'm not, you know, because there's a lot more power in fear than I think any of us give credit. Right. So what advice would you give somebody who's in that same position, who's thinking, I've got a good 6-figure income, you know, got a good relationship, whatever.
Yeah. There's so much advice that I could give, right? But if there's something that somebody wants, a vision that they have, something they want to build, whether it's a business, whether it's self-development, right? Whether it's like, hey, I want to get a 6-pack this summer, or I need to lose 20 pounds, or I want to do a Spartan race. I mean, whatever it is, I want a healthier marriage. I want a good relationship with my kids, whatever that is, right? If somebody has that, whether they're at a comfortable position or not, if they have that vision, they have that desire, you got to make the decision. It starts with the decision. And a lot of people, including myself for several years, like you said, the fear, right? Because they ask themselves, well, what if I fail? You know, what if I can't do it? What if something happens? Or they just don't even have the self-belief and the confidence, and they just tell themselves, it's a great idea, but I can't do that. And those are all those self-limiting beliefs. And we've gone to Tony Robbins events to where, you know, he talks about all that and teaches you how to overcome it. But you got to make the decision, you know, and you got to tell yourself, no matter what happens, whether I fail, I don't fail, it's easy, it's hard, whatever, I'm going to do this. If it takes me 20 tries, I'm going to do it. If I fail 20 times, I'm going to try again until I get it, right? It's that, what I was saying is the only way you can fail is if you quit, right? And we didn't quit, we just pivoted. And we did something different.
I think that's profound, because I think that's where people get hung up, right? I started this blank, right? It wasn't working. So I stopped doing it to do something else.
Right. Yeah.
But they changed stop doing it, pivot to quit.
To
I quit that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I mean, being in business, there's no real easy days.
No.
The easy days are the days where you forget to stop and think about what tomorrow's going to bring.
Right. The easy days are the days where you're like, I'm not doing anything today.
Right. Exactly. It's like it doesn't. There's not an easy piece to it. So, well, hey, I feel like we could go on talking forever. I've got a million other questions I could ask you, but I really appreciate you coming on. Anything we should know? Let's do this, because how do people find Red Crane Digital?
Okay. Yeah, Red Crane Digital, www.redcranedigital.com, Instagram, Red Crane Digital.
Okay.
Those are probably the easiest ways to find us. Yeah.
And you said you're going to Florida, so you're not locked into just doing work in Arizona. You can do work pretty much anywhere.
Oh, yeah. We can do work anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to actually get clients in Florida. We're trying to get clients in San Diego.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Feeling a beach vibe here.
Right. Yeah. I know. If we can get some clients in Japan, now we're talking. Right.
I've got to ask, is your last name, is it a Japanese?
Yeah, it's Japanese. Yeah.
Okay.
So my dad's side is
Okay.
all Japanese. So that's where the name comes from. So I'm
Okay.
half Japanese.
Okay.
So we just actually got back from Japan.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a little jet lagged. So
I've never been. Never been.
we got back like early Sunday morning. We were there for 11 days. It was really awesome. I actually brought you back something.
What?
Yeah. Let me grab it.
Oh my God.
Where'd it go?
You brought me a gift.
I brought you a gift.
I've got a gift for you as well. But
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah.
And allowing me the time to, sit in the seat with you and share my story and have a good conversation with you. So I appreciate it. But yeah, a couple of things in here for you. You can open it too. Yeah.
I can open it here.
Yeah, open it.
Okay.
So,
open it live.
Yeah.
This is crazy. No,
Yeah.
I mean, this is pretty cool. Got some
and I'll
golf balls.
Yeah.
Golf balls.
Yeah. So those are, I don't know what you hit, but I like Pro V ones.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And they're actually Japanese.
Everything's better in Japan.
I say,
I'm telling you.
will they fly better for me?
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
Straight and long.
Right. Yeah, you're going to be like, I played with a Pro V1 before, but these Pro V1s
are much better.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll give you the story. So those are pancakes from 7-Eleven. The reason why I bought you pancakes from 7-Eleven is one, because those are delicious. They're amazing. So they have butter and syrup like inside of
In
it.
them?
Yeah. So you just heat it up in the microwave for like 20 seconds and then just eat it. And they are like so good.
This would be gone tomorrow.
But it'll be gone tonight. But the reason why I thought of that, the story behind it was last time we met, we were across the street, right, at Liberty Station.
Yeah.
And you asked for some kind of pancake. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
You asked for like some specific pancake, and they're like, we're out. And you were like, what do you mean you're out? We were like, y'all must really like those pancakes, because he's letting them know, right?
Do that all the time.
He's like, what do you mean you're out of pancake? I don't know what else I'm going to eat. So I'm like, he likes pancakes.
That is awesome.
These are different than probably what you had over there.
No, that's cool.
These are, those are dangerous.
So 7-Eleven in Japan.
Oh, it's so amazing.
You know what's
really good
funny
quality food.
is whenever we go to New Jersey, because Christine's family is from New Jersey, we have to stop at Wawa, which is basically like a QT.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But people would say better than QT, but we have to stop at Wawa and get soft pretzels and hoagies, which is like a sub sandwich.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
From Wawa.
Wawa.
It's like,
do they have that in Florida?
I don't know.
It
They
sounds-
might.
It sounds
They might.
familiar, like I've seen it.
It is an East Coast thing.
Yeah, they
But-
might have it.
But anyways, well, hey, since we're doing gifts, I got a gift for you. Everybody
Oh,
comes on the
sweet.
show,
Awesome.
gets a
Oh,
gift.
thank you.
You get a challenge coin
Nice.
for coming on, and I have these glasses made for everybody. Obviously, you can drink whatever you want out of it, but it says I went above and beyond on the glass, and then on the back side, it's actually Rox Ink calligraphy. Roxy Sagat, who actually was on the show, personalizes them for everybody who comes on.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you
Well,
can
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
order or whatever.
Yeah.
Store your coins, whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. But hey, I really appreciate you coming on. I've had a blast getting to know you better, And like I said, I got a ton more questions, but
well,
save that for
we can
another
we
time.
can do it again, right?
Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Elisha Kameyama, and I went above and beyond.
Lunch mobs buzzing, ideas in the air. Golf outings where stories we share. Beyond the fairways, friendships grow. In APN's embrace, opportunities flow. No happy talking, just real deals. Authentic connections, the kind that heals. From Palm Springs to Pine Top's Grace, APN's network spans every place. Above Par Network, we're going above and beyond, reaching new heights. In networking realms, scaling the heights. From mixers to golf, our spirits unite. APN's the beacon, our guiding light. So here's to APN, where dreams align. In every connection, a chance to shine. Above and beyond, we'll always thrive. In APN's network, we truly thrive.